Why aren't we going live? Hey. Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Rene, and this is Plus News Across the Globe. Okay, I hope that y'all are doing well. If you notice, I'm not in my background. I had to travel today. I'm looking a little tired and like the road, but that's all right. The show must go on. I appreciate y'all for having me. If this is your first time here, this is Plus Across the Nation. I'm your host Rene, and we are brought to you by Plus Productions, okay? The National Plus Coalition. I hope that y'all are doing all right. Please forgive my appearance. You know, I usually be all cute, but I have been on the road, and that's just the way love goes, right? All right, so let's jump right into it. All right, so we have some guests tonight. We have some guests that are experts on the 10 and 2 law and Louisiana law itself. Okay, we have some experts that are coming in, and then we have a mother, okay, that wants to talk to us about her son and things that are going on with him and the injustices. That's what we do here, right? We bring light to the injustices. We share what we know about the law so we can get better at what we do. So my tip for activists, you know, I always do a tip, is research. Research is very, very important. You want to know what you're talking about. Make sure that you're putting out the right information, because you don't want it to come back and get you. If you are an activist, you want the people to be able to, you know, listen to what you say and know that it's words. So you want to make sure that you're doing research that you might need to do. If you're in journalism like myself, research is even more important. Your word is everything when you are a journalist. So you definitely want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and that you're doing your research for the things that you're getting involved with. So who to add? Okay, we're going to do who to add. Let me bring it on up. All right, State versus Us. You know, we always talk about them. You definitely want to make sure that you add them on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook. All right, State versus Us. They highlight high-profile cases, the wrongful convicted stories, and corruptions in the prison and in the police department. But they also do success stories of the formerly incarcerated. They talk about the wonderful things that they're doing beyond and above the G wall and behind it. So you definitely want to make sure that you add them. If you got a corruption case going, you want to reach out to them by Gmail, and they will help you out. All right, so make sure that you add them. Bayview, you know, I'm always going to talk about the Bayview. It is the national black newspaper, San Francisco Bayview. Okay, you can add them on Instagram at SF Bayview. Okay, and you can also go to sfbayview.com. They need donations. Okay, so those that are behind the G wall can continue to get free newspapers, because everybody doesn't have family support or have the financial takes, you know, to the finances to be able to purchase this magazine. That's very important. It's important to activists and social justice people and those that are concerned about what's going on in the prison system and just in the world with our people and everything like that. So you definitely want to make sure that you add them. They also have a show Monday through Friday that you should definitely check out. It comes on 12 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure y'all check that out. And then we got Prison Riot Radio. All right, Prison Riot Radio is another vehicle that's a voice of the voiceless. That is something that I came up with two other brothers, one that's formerly incarcerated and one that is currently incarcerated for a wrongful conviction. And it's just a platform, another platform for, you know, the voiceless, to get their voices out there, showcase their talent, but also to expose the corruption and the things that are going on in the system. So make sure that you add that on Instagram, and where else am I? Instagram and Facebook, Prison Riot Radio, prison_riot_radio. And if you haven't added us, please make sure that y'all add us, okay? You want to add the National Plus Coalition, and you want to add Plus News, and you want to add me as well. But before you do that, I have two other people on Instagram I think you really should connect with. All right, we got GL Glows. I got to do a Wonder Woman series with her today. I have a Wonder Woman series that I do that showcases women and stuff like that. I got to do one with her today. I hope y'all definitely check it out, but definitely add her. She is from Canada, but she's doing amazing things. She's got a book. She's an advocate up there, and she's bringing light to the indigenous people and the things that they got going on. So we definitely want to make sure that we add her. And then we got Dante Mitchell. Okay, if you've ever paid attention to some of the stuff that I did with Dante Mitchell, I was able to like, he's got a lot of stuff going on. You know, he's been home like a few months now. He's an advocate. He's definitely out there for the youth, and he's trying to do a lot of big things. He also has something called UFDs that I think y'all should definitely check out. But you can add him on Instagram, and that's the tags right there that you see on top of them. So let's go on to the next one. All right, so this is Brother Ruck. If you are familiar with my page, you've already heard me talk about him. All right, his name is Jaru Ayers, okay? And currently he has been, he's in the Pennsylvania correction system, right? And he is part of the Vaughn 12. They have a book that came out, which is available on Amazon. Speaking of Amazon, I'm going to double back to that, but their book is also available on Amazon, all right? It's called The Vaughn 17 Speaks. The Vaughn 17 is linked with the uprising that happened at John T. Vaughn correctional facility in Smyrna, Delaware. Okay, I suggest that y'all definitely read more about that and check out the book. Okay, as far as me saying it's on Amazon, it is on Amazon, and we have a link below because you can buy the same thing off of Amazon. You can buy a Roku. Please excuse me if y'all hear those little footsteps. Those are little puppies. Okay, I don't usually have puppies around me, but they like me. Animals like me. Anyway, so yeah, you can find their book on Amazon, but you can also find Roku on Amazon. And that is something that you will need to see Plus if you don't have a smart TV that already has it, because Plus will be coming to Roku before you know it. So there is a link that's in the description, and I also believe that it's in the chat. So make sure y'all check that out. But yeah, Brother Ruck, man, I have a phones app that is out. It's on my Instagram under Prison Ride Radio. And they are taking his phone privileges away. We need y'all to reach out again. Y'all can make sure I'll put it through the Plus channel so that y'all can see it. The same channel that y'all watching me on, you'll be able to see that. And I'll share that with y'all. All right, so this excuse me, I almost called him a name. So this guy right here, okay, his name is Officer Cooper. Now, Officer Cooper has been indicted because he decided that he would like to prey on young girls that are already victims to sexual assault and sexual predators and things like that. I'm going to read a clip to y'all about this person. All right, that's coming from Delaware Online. A former Wilmington police officer who prosecutors say sent nude photos to a teenage girl he met while on duty at a city community center. Can't even send your children to the community center without somebody trying to violate them. Absolutely absurd. All right, has been charged in connection with text. A Newcastle County grand jury indicted 30-year-old Brandon Cooper, that's his name, on Monday, according to the announcement by the Delaware Department of Justice. Prosecutors charged him with sexual solicitation of a child, a felony, as well as official misconduct and lewdness. So that's his name. Ex-officer Brandon Cooper has been indicted for that. So we're glad that his ass is out of the ranks, and I'm going to leave it at that. This officer right here, okay, this is another officer doing the wrong thing in Delaware. Absolutely outrageous. This man that he has, there is a video. I couldn't get it for y'all. In this video, he slams this man's head up against this glass container thing that you can't really see in this picture, but you can see it in the video. We have a statement on that from some of the activists that are in Delaware. Actually, his name is Kobe Owens. Okay, he is part of the NAACP, and he's just been an activist around Delaware. We definitely appreciate Kobe for being in the fight. So this is something that he had to say when it came to regards to that. Give me 1 second.
Police department in the Mr. Brown case. What we saw in that video of his head being beaten against the counter and then thrown on the ground is unacceptable, and we don't believe that's how police should be interacting. Now, we understand that not all officers hold themselves to that same standard, But for those who do, we thank them. For those who do not, we are calling on the city, we are calling on our General Assembly to work together to bring about true change in our policing reforms and our policing system for true reform. And that includes working together with community advocates, stakeholders, to ensure that policing reform speaks to the community, speaks to those who are on the front line. We all just want to be safe. And as the National NAACP said, we are tired of dying. We are done with dying. Enough is enough. And that's why we're out here today and we're supporting the Brown family.
Awesome. Yep, that's my hometown, Wilmington, Delaware. We have something there. We have the SB 149. That is a Senate bill. And what this bill will do currently in Delaware, we still fall under Leah board. That means the officers can run around and do what they want and get away with their crimes. And we don't even have the right to know because it's not available to the public. They have all of these things where they can do whatever they want and get away with the crimes that they're committing. So Senate Bill 149 is something that we're hoping to get passed. It's active right now. If you are from Delaware, please, 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 that's something that you want your representative to vote for. You need to find out where they stand on that. Okay. You can definitely be paying attention to my page to find out more about that. So along with that, okay, we're gonna travel down south. Okay, we're gonna travel down south to Louisiana. So Louisiana, I already know, has a corrupt system. I used to live down there for 10 years, and I've seen some crazy stuff. I know someone for a fact who went to prison for something that they didn't do, okay? All based off of somebody's word who wasn't even credible. So this is the things they do. But as I continue to get to know more people that lives in Louisiana and are familiar with the things that go there, something called 10 and 2 was brought to my attention. And I talked about this last week, but I finally have somebody that I consider some experts that are going to be able to tell us a little bit more about 10 and 2. So let's see if they're here. Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you very much. So do my viewers and listeners. So can you please tell us, you can introduce yourself if you like. You don't have to. You can use the alias, of course, but preferably use the alias. But what can you tell us about Louisiana's 10 and 2 law that most people probably don't even know?
Okay, so I'm Chad, right? And the involvement of 10-2 deals with the non-unanimous jury verdict throughout the entire country, other than Louisiana and Oregon. Previous to 2019, Louisiana and Oregon had decisions that could be, they could find a person guilty by 10-2 instead of a unanimous jury verdict of 12 jurors. So in the case of Ramos versus Louisiana, it was determined by the Supreme Court that the 10-2 was unconstitutional. But they didn't make it retroactive. So another case went before the Supreme Court, which was Edwards versus Louisiana. Edwards versus Illinois. And in that case, they didn't apply retroactivity. So they were saying basically that those cases before 2019, before Louisiana changed the law to unanimous jury verdicts, were considered, sufficient, even though they resulted in 10-2. This stems from an old Jim Crow law when, the laws were used against blacks to basically just close them off from voting, whether they went with the case or not. All they needed was 10 jurors out of the 12. So fast forward to this time, they changed it in 2019, as I said, and now they won't look back at those cases that were applied under 10-2 and find them retroactively unconstitutional. They just leave it as is. Louisiana state courts are not adhering to really anything. They're not reaching a point to say that it's illegal or legal. They just denying it. They haven't raised the question. There's a recent split between the circuits in Louisiana right now, but with circuit courts. One circuit determined that it was illegal, and I think two courts have determined it was illegal, and three courts have said, no, it's legal. So now the question goes to Louisiana Supreme Court for clarification on it. So that's kind of like where it's pending at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the basis of everything is just that they tried to suppress the black voters because, you know, you had less than 20% of black voters down here. And in that, you have to have a cross section of the community on the jury pool. So if you were to get two blacks on the jury pool and have a cross section of the community, their vote would be quieted because all they need is 10 jurors to find you guilty. So that was the reason for, you know, the establishment of the 10-2, which was illegal when they did that, because the United States Constitution, which is supposed to supersede everything, states that it has to be a unanimous jury verdict. Right.
So what court did you say considered it unconstitutional?
The United States Supreme Court found it constitutional, found it unconstitutional in Ramos versus Louisiana.
Okay. So I know that you said that it won't be retroactive. So it's just blowing my mind that they know that it's wrong. They've even called it unconstitutional. But those that have been locked away for God knows how long can benefit from this law change. Have they said anything about it, or it's just like, well, that's just the way it is?
Well, the only court that has stepped up and did something about it is Orleans Parish. The rest of the courts kind of stayed away from it. They followed basically just the Edwards case saying it wasn't retroactive. Louisiana district attorney chose to go ahead and start releasing people or retrying them or setting plea bargains for guys that have been down for a long time,
right,
knowing that it's illegal. So at this point, the Fourth Circuit, which is over Orleans Parish, St. Bernard Parish, Clackamas Parish, they've determined that, yes, this is illegal. So they had anytime there's a conflict between the circuit courts, the question has to go to the Louisiana Supreme Court to make a decision on it. So now the case is sitting in front of them under, I want to say the case is State versus Rene.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to make a determination if, in fact, it is retroactive.
Okay. I understand. So I heard there's some other really janky laws that they have down in Louisiana. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of the laws that have been made with Jim Crow in mind and just, you know, are just against the people?
It's a long list. I mean, the laws are not to, they continuously implement these laws that just have no application whatsoever, you know, to the people. I mean, it's more to hurt people than they are to help, you know, control. I mean, like one of the cases, let me say, the Epstein case, where they was using habitual offender adjudication. They was using these non-violent charges to give somebody a life sentence. I mean, it was just, and that was based upon, regardless, you either had 3 non-violent charges, low-level charges, but just because you had 3 charges, they would hit you with a life sentence under habitual offender. Regardless of the level it was, some guys had, you know, small drug cases. You know, these guys didn't need prison; they needed rehabilitation.
Right.
You know, so they was giving these life sentences to guys that, I mean, basically shouldn't even be here. You know, be in prison, you know, be in there for that long for a life sentence.
Right. So let me ask you this, brother, before I let you go. What can we, the people, be doing to help support Louisiana when it comes to this 10-2 law, or just to support, you know, what's going on? What can we do as activists and social justice seekers?
continue to speak out against the the law, the 10-2 law that's still keeping guys in prison for lengthy sentences. Like I said, that was something that was shown to be illegal under the Constitution, because basically, guys are not Louisiana citizens first, the United States citizens first, then they fall within each state. So it's the United States Constitution that supersedes everything. Continue to speak out against that. I believe there's a bill called Louisiana House Bill 730, and that bill is supposed to kind of cure the situation and giving these guys with these lengthy sentences parole eligibility. That in itself would help support those guys, because they've been out for 20, 25, 30, 40 years.
Right.
These real lengthy sentences.
Okay. We definitely gonna make sure that we do that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
I'm sorry. House Bill 730 is like the one that also helps guys who've been out since the 70s, who in fact did have parole eligibility on their sentence. But once they changed the law to a life sentence, which meant no parole, probation, suspension sentence, they stripped them of that parole eligibility after 20 years or 40 years.
Right.
So they got guys that's doing, in the prison system doing 40 and 50 years. It's just too long of a sentence for anybody, basically, on anything.
Well, brother, the people definitely heard what you said. We're definitely going to make sure that we stay steadfast when it comes to that. You have about 5 more minutes. Is there any other thing that you want to speak about as far as the laws going there, or any type of corruption where you are, or anything like that?
The only thing is our support of the laws is coming into effect. This parole eligibility bill has been pushed through for years and years, and it doesn't really gain the traction. We're one of the few states that have these paroles. I mean, this life sentence where there's no parole eligibility.
Right.
There's guys in the prison system who earn degrees, go through the rehab. They do a lot of things, and they should have some type of release mechanism, and that's just like something that should be pushed more to the legislature, more to the governor, to let them know. There's guys who were rehabilitated in the prison system.
Say that last line one more time, brother. I didn't hear you.
There's a lot of guys who are rehabilitated in the prison system and worthy of going back into society and could live a normal or productive life.
Right.
And that should be pushed more to the legislatures and to the governor, Louisiana's governor.
Yeah. Explain a little bit, because like a lot of states have different laws and stuff. Explain a little bit more when you were talking about not having the eligibility of parole.
Okay, so Louisiana has life without parole, probation, or suspension of sentence. There's no other release mechanism. You are in prison until you die. Some people had the impression that meant you do 21 years or 10 years and 6 months, and it doesn't work like that. Louisiana law, you are in prison until you die. It's death by incarceration. So that right there, is different than any other state where New York or California offer these sentences of 5 to life, 25 to life, 15 to life, and you get parole eligibility if you finish a particular criteria.
Right.
Well, Louisiana doesn't have that. It's just life, and it's just death by incarceration.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. We're gonna continue to make sure that we talk about it and do our part, bro, when it comes to trying to fix what's going down in Louisiana. Anybody that's watching or can hear the sound of my voice, if you are in Louisiana or you would like to help with some efforts when it comes to their legislation or the things that's going on there, please reach out to me. You can reach out to me at 914-655-4993, okay? Or you can reach out to the National Plus Coalition directly at 888-806-6748. Brother, I definitely appreciate you for, bringing us up to speed on 10 and 2. I tried to talk about it a little bit last week, but you're definitely more well versed in it than I am. So I appreciate you for coming on and just putting everybody up on what's going on in Louisiana, so we know where to focus. For sure. I appreciate you very much. We're gonna chat again soon, okay?
Thank you. I really appreciate having the opportunity to put this out there.
For sure, bro. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So that's Louisiana. 10 and 2, based on Jim Crow. Remember, a lot of these laws are based on Jim Crow, based on a bunch of bull crap, based on suppression of rights and things like that. So it doesn't surprise me that this is happening. It actually makes me very sad. But now that we know more about it, like I said, if you're interested in getting in that fight and getting more involved in what's going on in Louisiana and getting these laws changed, you can definitely reach out to me at 914-655-4993. All you got to do is text LA. LA is short for Louisiana when they be abbreviated. So don't think about California. LA, that's for Louisiana. All right, bet y'all didn't know I used to live down there. I used to have a real deep accent too, but I've been around a little bit more since then. So it's not as deep as it used to be. So I want to talk about the next person that we're gonna have on. We're gonna have a mother. Okay, we're gonna have a mother on. I'm gonna read a statement about her son, and then she's going to come on and she's going to talk about her son, because I think that we need to hear from the loved ones of people that are affected by things, so we can really understand how it can hit home. It's not as outrageous or outlandish or far away as we think. These things happen in our neighborhood. They happen right across the street. They happen a phone call away and stuff like that. So this young man right here, all right, his name is Matthew Baker. I'm going to read a statement on him so you just have a little bit more knowledge on him before I bring his mother on, okay? Matthew Baker Jr. is 24 years old from Henry County, Georgia. All right, he may face the death penalty for a quadruple murder known as the Bonfire Killings that occurred in 2016. All right, his co-defendant Jacob Koski has confessed to the killings and has since been sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. So this young man said, "Hey, I did it," and he's been sentenced to 4 life sentences without parole. However, in recent motions, new evidence and testimonies failed to prove that Baker had a hand in these crimes. So Matthew Baker, this is who you see right here. He's currently incarcerated. And he was the only black kid that was involved in the whole incident. It was put out there that he didn't do it. He says himself that he didn't do it, and testimonies are saying the same thing. So we're going to talk to his mother because she can give us a better perspective about her son and what's going on with him, all right? So let me give her a call right now. I appreciate y'all for being here. Please make sure that you add me at the J Rene, TheJayrene, and you also add this platform that you're on right now, so you can continue to see Plus News, our other shows, and just stay up to date with what's going on. Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay. I gave a brief, introduction into your son, but only a mother can tell it the best. Before we get into what's going on with your son, can you please let our listeners and viewers know the type of young man that your son was and he is?
Yes. He's a sweet, loving kid. He's like a light bulb. He lights up every room that he enters into. He was a really good kid growing up. I think any parent would probably want a kid like him as their first kid. because they'll get tricked into having 2 or 3 more kids thinking they're all going to be like you.
Right.
I never really had to get on to him too much. I could just look at him a crazy way or raise my voice and he got in line. He is what held our family together. He kept his brothers and sisters walking a tightrope. He really kind of sheltered them a lot growing up. He really took on the role of being a big brother. I worked a lot and stuff, but I still try to work around their schedule and be there for them to support them in school and stuff like that. I was a very proactive parent. Right. Always going to games, baseball games, football games, basketball, cheerleading, whatever I had, I was trying to do for them and work as well. And still make sure they do their schoolwork and everything and keep the house clean. And
right.
If I said I needed this done and they didn't do it, he would fuss at them, hurry up, do it before mama gets home because you know y'all going to be in trouble. And if they didn't do it, here he was catching the slack for them just so he wouldn't hear me fussing and yelling and all the other stuff. Now to where he is now, he helps a lot of people. I get phone calls periodically from people that have been incarcerated with him, that have gone to prison or whatever. They call and check on him, check on me, make sure we're doing good, seeing if he's been to court yet, find out what's going on, why they're still holding him,
right.
Or just to tell me a testimony of how he has helped them through their time being in the county jail.
Okay. It sounds like you got an awesome kid, ma'am. Matthew sounds awesome for sure.
He is.
Before we get into the story, I also want to, clarify to make sure I'm on point. There is, in this case where he's been incarcerated, how long has he been locked up, ma'am?
This October will be 6 years.
Okay. And when you mention trial, what do you mean by this? What you mean by that?
We haven't even been to trial yet.
Okay.
They offered him a plea. They want him to sign a plea, and the DA has kind of bullied him into signing a plea, but we're not backing down. And we told them from day one, we're not signing no pleas. Take it to court. Take it to trial.
So he's been incarcerated for 6 years and hasn't even been to court yet about what he's locked up for. Correct? I want to make sure everybody understands.
Yeah, per se, yes. We've been to a few motion reading hearings, but that's it.
Okay. And I also am under, I was told that there's absolutely no physical evidence linking him to anything that happened that day, correct? Okay. So can you let our listeners and our viewers know, briefly but in depth, of course, the events of that day? Like, why is your son not hugging your neck right now? Why is he unjustly locked behind bars and hasn't even been to court for something that there's no evidence that he's done?
I wish I could answer that question because that's still a question that I've been asking for the last 6 years to his attorneys, and they have not yet answered my question. I want to know why he's there. I set up a few meetings with them a couple years ago. I saw his interrogation. I saw some other things about the case or whatever, and nothing led me to even understand why they even have him. Just recently, one of the court proceedings we went to, which is on YouTube and anybody can see it, is his interrogation with the detective. The detective says, I know you didn't have a gun, I know you didn't shoot anybody, but I know you know what happened. And so therefore that right there starts out the whole, he knew he was innocent, but he was just trying to figure out, what's going on or whatever, when he already knew what was going on because he had already interviewed the person that actually committed the crime. And I saw his interview as well, too. And he never stated anything that the detective has said in court. So to answer that question, really, I hate with having somebody that's mentally ill take the fall for this, and because my son is biracial, they want him to take the fall for it as well.
So that's absolutely outrageous for so many
Yes.
reasons. I'm sorry that you're going through this, and I'm sorry that Matthew is going through this as well. From what I've read, he was the only black man that was there, right? The only black kid that was there.
Correct.
Okay. And someone has confessed to this crime and said that
Correct.
they did it, and they've been charged, and they got 4 consecutive life sentences.
Correct.
Okay. So this system knows that your son is innocent, and they're trying to hold the death penalty over his head because they refuse to let him go free, and he's done nothing wrong.
Correct. Since when all this first happened, so when all this first happened, the newspaper articles and everything was basically telling what happened and really went into in depth with a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Then here come the news media, and of course, I guess they get their information from the police department. I don't know if they get what they want, what information they need, and then they make up an extra story. I have no idea, but I just know that everything that is on the news is not what people need to believe, because they bashed my son's name tremendously. When all this first happened, they kept making it seem like the way the news media would talk about it was my son was the culprit of all this, but Jacob Koski is the one that actually did it.
Right.
They said that he stole the guns from the house, and he didn't. When they actually really did their investigation like they were supposed to, they realized that Koski stole the guns from the house. My son didn't provide him anything. From day one, Koski has maintained my son's innocence and has stated that on numerous occasions. What I don't understand is they wanted Koski to take a plea, and they offered him a plea, and he signed the plea.
Mm-hmm.
And they felt like it was just enough that he admitted that what he did, and so you'll take the plea from him, but you won't allow. Well, as far as I know, they're not allowing, because his attorneys will not answer my question about it. So let me make that clear. But they won't take the DA, as far as right now, the DA will not take Jacob's word that my son didn't have anything to do with it. My son's attorneys has told me that the DA, from their meetings that they've had, is the DA says he doesn't know what role my son played in it. He just kind of feels like he has something to do with it. But there we go back to facts. You have no evidence, and that was proven in court this last time we went to court back in November of last year. The lady from whoever does their crime lab stuff or whatever, the swabs and stuff like that.
Right.
She tested everybody that was involved in it, or that was there, or anybody that the police were investigating.
Right.
And there was no gunpowder residue on my son's hands. There was no gun with his fingerprints on it. They didn't have no DNA nowhere that had anything to do with my son.
So they just got your son locked up because they hooked on a feeling. There's no evidence. The perpetrator says, I'm the perpetrator, and he's not involved. He's proclaimed his innocence himself, but they've hooked on this feeling. He has to be involved. So why must he be involved? Like, did they give a reason to why they feel like he's involved? Like,
No.
It's just because he's black, or just because?
Just because they ain't saying nothing. Even when we went to court this last time, the DA, the district attorney, asked the detective, because when they were going through everything, she was laying out all the stuff. And like when they interviewed my son, they interviewed him only as a witness. They didn't interview him as a suspect. None, even when the police was at the house, because they saw the vehicle that was supposed to have had left the crime scene at my house. That's why why they came to my house that morning, because they thought that Jacob Kowski was at our house, but he wasn't.
Okay.
And so even in the body cam footage and all that stuff, when you hear the cops talking and you can hear everybody in the background, and when we went to court to do the motion hearing, they laid all that stuff out, and nobody there ever said anything about my son being a suspect. And even when he went to the police station, he was asked to come along with the other 3 people that was in the car with him. Mm-hmm. And they were all asked, and they never, when they left my house that morning, they all left willingly. Nobody was handcuffed or anything, so they didn't know they didn't know nothing.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't feel like if they were leaving that they were going to be arrested at all. And still, during the court process, the detective never did say what made him decide that he felt like my son was guilty of anything.
Wow. I'm so sorry this is happening.
On top of him lying several times, that's another thing that we're dealing with. So it's not just the fact that my son's there and he's innocent. It's just all the other corrupt stuff that's going on with his case right now.
So tell me about the lying. We are all ears.
Well, it's just the detective. I mean, at the preliminary hearing, he lied about that. He twisted different people's statements around to make it unfold into something to make my son look guilty. And all of that stuff was not true. And then this last time when we went to court, they put him on the stand, and everything that he talked about was not the same stuff that he talked about at the preliminary hearing. So he didn't say anything that was the same as before.
Right.
One of the questions the district attorney asked was, did my son show any emotion during his testimony? And he lied on stand after everybody had watched it, because he said, yeah. And the lady said, well, at what time did he do that? And he said, at the end. And I thought to myself, you're a bald-faced liar, because the first thing that came out of my son's mouth when he did his interrogation was he asked for protection. He asked if there was a way that me and my daughter and my grandbaby and him could be protected, because he was scared for his life.
Wow.
And he was like, gave the same, well, we can have people, cops ride by your house, blah, 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 blah. But the point was, he said that from the get-go.
Right. Wow. I'm so sorry, ma'am, that y'all are going through this. We definitely support y'all. We definitely believe y'all. Everyone that's watching is either in social justice or has been affected by injustice. So we know that these type of things happen. And it's absolutely ridiculous what's happening. I don't even have the words. But I do have a question of you. What can we do as activists and social justice seekers? What can we do to assist you, and what's going on with your son? What's going on with Matthew? How can we help?
This week has been a busy week for me. You're the third interview I've done this week, and this is the most I've done in a week. And usually they've been spaced out.
Okay.
And as I was just watching an interview that I did with somebody, he actually interviewed my son, and he's going to post it on YouTube. And we pray a lot. We're trusting God in this situation, and I am upset and I am furious about it. But at the same time, I sit back and I think, for some reason, God chose my child to go through this. I don't think that not many kids can go through this and have the strength that he has. So I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, okay, before I did this, I was like, okay, God, I got to touch somebody with this story, because I talk a lot about it. Yeah. And I want to reach people through this, and I want people to understand that this could be their child, and this could be, you have to have strength when you're going through something like this, because if you don't, you can't pay attention and you can't move forward and you can't help the next person, and it's just, you feel like you get backed up to a wall and you don't know what to say, and it's a lot of emotions that go on, and these are things that I went through for the last 6 years.
Right.
Even though now I know that for some reason my child is the chosen one, and I already knew that God had a testimony for him. I just didn't see this one here coming. But if I had to say, if anything, for people to help Matthew, is go look up this information for yourself. Don't just take my word or anybody else's word. Look it up for yourself. Read, go to YouTube. Look up everything about the case that you can possibly look up. Get yourself educated with it, so that if you're going to advocate for him, spread the word and know what you're talking about. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's just, you got to be able to tell the story, because it's a story like no other. Like it just keeps. It's just going to be a book, because from 6 years ago to now, more things have unraveled as far as the injustice to him. Not the case itself, but just how they're treating him, how they're trying to really, this is modern day slavery, and if they could hang him, but they're not hanging him, they're wanting to give him the death penalty. So it's a difference. Educate yourself on his case. Talk to your kids and inform other kids about the situation, to not to watch who you are around, and always watch your surroundings, watch who your group of friends are. If something doesn't sit well with you, you know what I'm saying? If it doesn't, if it's not something you don't hear your parents telling you, leave, or just watch your back all the time. Always be cautious about who you have in your circle. Share his stuff on YouTube. Share it on your Facebook page. There's you can go to change.org and you can sign a petition for him. You can put your comments on there of why you think he should be set free. Right now, I haven't checked it in a few days, so I'm not sure how many signatures is on there, but last time I checked, it was like 43,000 and something signatures. Okay. Most of those we had gotten within like 6 weeks when I found out about it, because I was in the process of making one, and then we started going to court, so I had to focus on that. And somehow me doing the podcast, it spread all the way to Texas, and somebody else had created it for me. Okay. So I ended up doing my research and finding out that girl's name, and that way I can be able to get the printout for it. So we have to take it to court. Anybody just to follow his case, I am on Facebook, and anybody that wants to follow me on Facebook or follow his story or whatever and keep in contact with what's going on with him, they can send me a message. My name on Facebook is Angie Lanier, but they have to send me an inbox and let me know why they want to be a follow on my page or whatever, because I don't really... I keep it kind of private because of all the stuff that we have going on. Yes, I don't know who's for us and who's not for us.
I can understand. Can you spell your last name so I can put it in the chat so they can find you?
Yes, it's LANIER.
IER. Okay, I put it in the chat. What's your profile picture?
It'll be me and my grandbaby, and it says because I have a black son.
Okay. So y'all make sure that y'all reach out to her. Make sure that y'all inbox her first. Okay, I put her name in the chat. I'm so my heart is heavy, The things that y'all mothers go through with y'all children, it's something else, especially when it's something like this, I hope that everyone that got to hear you will definitely support you and support your son and support Matthew so we can get him some justice. Is there any last things that you would like to say?
If we need a good attorney. I can't afford one for him. That's the other sad part. I did a lot of research prior to this. I even got tricked by an attorney and paid him $3,000 to do something he really wasn't no need for me paying him for, because it wasn't going to help. I could have done it myself. But an attorney for his case is about $75,000. If anybody knows a good attorney that may take it pro bono, or just would want to help with some kind of legal advice, to anything, saying if they can send them my way, I would be greatly appreciative of that. I never ask for any money, because I don't personally want or need any money. But if anybody wants to send money to Matthew, they can do jailatm.com and set up an account and send him money. He has a Cash App. It's the money sign, and it's Team Matthew, and that's with 2 T's. They can send him money for anything, because he has to pay for everything that he gets from the jail. Everything, down to socks, shoes, soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, razors, food, whatever. He has to pay for it. So if anybody wants to send him money, please do so. We do pretty good about keeping up. I make sure I keep money on there. His brother sends money, family members send money, stuff like that. So we always try to make sure he has at least $50 a week on there, so he can call home or get whatever he's got to get on the store and stuff like that. But if anybody wants to send him money, they can do that. Main thing is just be supportive of him, and if you follow his story and we have to go to court, please, if you would, come and support him at court. In the near future, I will have a rally for him. We got some other things in the works right now, so it's just support. That's all we want, is just support and prayers.
Okay, well, we definitely have it. I appreciate you very much for coming on and speaking about this, about your son. And I'm hoping very much that we can reach somebody with this that can really give you some help, be it a lawyer, be it somebody that just know what they got, what they're doing, and well put together, And
yes,
our love and prayers are to you.
Well, I really appreciate you taking time to want to interview me.
Yes, ma'am.
And I hope that our ultimate goal through this whole thing is that the truth be revealed on this case, because I pray a lot for the victims' families. They're very angry, and I do want the truth to be revealed to them so they can have some kind of comfort. They're not going to ever be satisfied because they did lose their child. But I want them to have some kind of comfort so they're not angry for the rest of their entire life. And I hope that somebody, gets touched with this story, just so they themselves, as a child or young teenager or whatever, don't have to experience this type of style of life for 6 years just because of the color of their skin, or just have to go behind those walls for any reason, period. That it will save another child from the streets in any type of way. Not that my son was in the streets, but
right. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I hope this story helps save somebody else's child.
You said a mouthful there. I appreciate you very much. We're definitely gonna be talking soon again, okay? Y'all keep your head up. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
What does one say? Mothers always hit me hard. Parents, period. Her son, man, they got him hemmed up, trying to bury that young man. He's been incarcerated for 6 years. There's no evidence. The person that committed the crime said, I committed the crime. Said that Matthew had nothing to do with the crime. There's no evidence linking him to the crime. Officers lying on him. It's like officers had this thing, man. Once they start doing some stuff, all the way up from the attorney general down to the lowest on the ladder, That's like once they mess up, man, they refuse to go and double back and say they did wrong. They rather just continue to railroad people, which is absolutely outrageous. That's why we have to stick together and make sure that we're in things like this, and we keep our eyes on it and keep our hands in it. You know, it's far too many mothers that are going through things. Okay, I've talked about this before. It's something that I bring up on my Instagram periodically. You know, we have Brandon Lewis that was murdered in Wabash. His mother is still needing help. You know, we got Brittany Martin. Her son was murdered, and it seems that they're retaliating against anyone that stands up against them in South Carolina. We have to, this is why our job is important. We have to amplify her voice and amplify her son's voice, because if not, they're going to bury him. They've done it for years. If we don't get on them when we see wrong, they're going to bury it. That's the reason why that mother hasn't got any type of justice and any type of answers. That's the reason why my sister Sheila in Love, her name, she's my sister in love. Okay, that's the reason why she hasn't got answers about her son and what they did to him. Absolutely ridiculous. Our job is very, very important, okay? Please reach out to that mother. If you're interested in any of the things that I spoke about this evening, you can definitely text 914-655-4993 and just put whatever the subject is. Okay, and I can make sure that you get information on that. I want to talk about the event that we have coming up Monday. Yes, that is something that we do here. We do events, and these events, there be events, seminars, and they always very good. They always informational. A wealth of information, okay? And I definitely want to invite you. It's called The Black Effect, and it will be here starting on Monday. If you follow us, right? Follow us, or if you look down our timeline, you will be able to see the flyers on the subject. We got some amazing guests that are coming. I can't wait to watch it. I'm not a part of this one, but that's okay. I'm gonna be a part of the next one. And we just got to keep up with the good fight. As you heard her say, she said, please research her son. What did I say first? I didn't know she was going to say that. This is how I know I'm supposed to be doing this. This is how I know that y'all supposed to be here. And I talk to the people I talk to, because I just said when I first started about researching, and she just doubled it up on the back end, and I didn't even know it was coming. Research is important. Remember, I was saying researching, you know, so you can find out what's going on. She says, before you speak about my son, research for yourself. Don't believe her. And she wants you to be well versed. That's important. When we're in social justice, we have to know what we're talking about, because you don't never want to be in a position where you're putting out information that can make a situation worse, because you don't know what you're talking about. You want to at least have the basics, at least know the tough questions that might come at you. You got to know your stuff, man. That's something that's very important. If you're a journalist, it's extra important that you're on top of your stuff, okay? It's about that time. My lips is dry as can be. I don't know why I ain't got the lip gloss in right there, but hey, we roughing it today. I've been on the road. I've been up. I've been doing my thing. I woke up at the crack of dawn, but we got to continue to stay in this fight. Sometimes we're not going to get no sleep. Sometimes we don't get enough sleep. Sometimes we don't feel good. And of course, I always tell you that we have to rest. But tonight was very, very important, and I'm not that tired. I wanted to let y'all know what was going on in Louisiana, let you know some of the things that's going on in Delaware. And I definitely wanted you to, be able to listen to that mother talk about her son, Matthew. And so we can try to really give some assistance. It's been, I don't want to say it's been a pleasure, because talking about injustice isn't a pleasure, but I'm glad that those of you that watched the whole thing, thank you for being here. Those that came in late, you can always watch the rest, just back it up. And I appreciate y'all very much. The job that we do is a tough one. The job that you do is a tough one. And it doesn't always give you friends. It doesn't always, make you smile. It doesn't always, it just sometimes to keep you up at night. It's a lot that come with this. So the fact that you're actually putting in the work and doing that selfless service means a lot. Don't beat yourself up. If you can't do everything, it's all right. If you can't do 10 things, you can do 5. Do your 5. If you can't do nothing but 1, do your 1. That's all right. Don't beat yourself up. Okay. I appreciate y'all very much. God willing, I'll be here next Friday. And I'll have more injustice to expose. Make sure that you're going to be checking us out on Roku soon. All right, you can find a link to the Roku box if you don't have a smart TV where it already comes in. And you can also find the book by Brother Jeru, Ayers and, you know, the other 16 brothers, the Vaughn 17. I got my book. It's not here with me. It's at my house. I can't wait to read it. I think that everybody in social justice, anyone that calls themselves prison advocates, anyone that are abolitionists, is definitely a book that you want to read. You can also get that on Amazon. So y'all have a good night. It is Friday. Man, I forgot it's Friday. Y'all be safe, man. Don't have too much fun tonight. Well, have a lot of fun, but you know what I mean. Be safe. I appreciate y'all very much, man. We got to make sure we keep doing this work. Y'all got it. All right. It's your girl, J. Rene. Y'all be easy. I'm finna go put some on these dry lips. Good night, y'all. Peace.